Among the achievements that Jeong made during his reign, the most representative one must be the construction of Suwon Hwasong. Hwasong started to be built in 1794 and was completed in 1796. Jeong, who took charge of building Hwasong, invented some construction equipment such as Kurjingki and Yuhyung-kur, and the construction, which had been expected to take 10 years, was finished within 3 years. The biggest reason for the king to build Hwasong was to make his own ideal city. Back then, the leading figures of No Ron were residing in Bukchon and Hanyang, and they controlled Samgunbu and gained economic profits in collusion with the merchants in Sijeon. For these reasons, Jeong wanted a new city where he would realize his political ideals, so he chose Suwon. In the 13th year of his reign, he moved his father's tomb to Suwon, and that place had been supposed to be used as a tomb for the 13th king, Jeong. When Sadoseja was alive, he respected Jeong, and he visited Suwon to settle civil complaints. Hence, Jeong chose the city to inherit his father's will. In 1794, Hwasong began to be built, and the palace called Hanggung, some roads and the ramparts were constructed. In the center, a market and many shops were established, and the scale of the market was comparable to that of the market in Hanyang. Jeong wanted to develop the market in Suwon Hwasong into the center of distribution and international trade. Moreover, an artificial reservoir called Mansuk-kur was made, and a large-scale state-run plantation, of which name was Dae-Yudun, was made. Jeong also wanted to revolutionize the agricultural industry of Joseon by applying advanced agriculture techniques to Dae-Yudun. In the following year, Joseon witnessed the crop failure nationwide, but Dae-Yudun reaped a good harvest because enough water was supplied to it. In 1795, Jeong traveled to Hwasong to hold a feast to celebrate his mother's 60th birthday. Approximately 6,000 retinues accompanied the king, and he was riding a horse, wearing a golden suit of armor. During his visit to Hwasong, he led a large-scale military exercise, and most of the soldiers belonged to Jeong. As mentioned, as Samgunbu was under control of No Ron, Jeong established and developed his royal bodyguards. It started from Jeong-wi, which had about 50 soldiers, and developed into Jeong-young in 1788. Although contemporary people have a stereotype that Jeong was the king of a scholar, he was also the king of the military spirit. He kept developing Jeong-young, and it was reorganized into Jeong-young, stationed in the capital city, and Jeong-wei, stationed in Suwon Hwasong in 1793. The number of soldiers amounted to around 20,000. When Jeong traveled to Hwasong in 1795, he conducted a nighttime military drill, and he himself commanded about 6,000 soldiers. Some of the subjects of No Ron, such as Sim Hwanji, witnessed that large-scale military training, so Jeong confidently demonstrated that the physical foundation for his royal power was established, and the subjects of No Ron must have felt fear of the royal power. Jeong also invited the elderly dwelling in Hwasong and held a feast for them, and the old who attended the feast received the same food that the king had. This case shows the will of Jeong to rule the people based on their public opinion without discriminating against them because of their class. While heading for Hwasong, Jeong made an effort to meet the people and listen to their voices to settle their civil complaints. It is called Kyeokjang. In those days, many of the difficulties that the people had were related to the contradictions of the social hierarchy, so the privileged asked Jeong to abolish Kyeokjang, but Jeong did not grant their request because Jeong wanted to directly communicate and interact with the people without any interventions of governmental subjects for his political ideals.